I'm here with Nick Hughes. We're at Surf, and we want to talk about seconds. So tell me, first off, thanks for having us in here.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And tell me, what is seconds?
So seconds is mobile payments, and the unique thing that we have done is we stream it through text message. So we've built a system where you can simply text a word or a number to a long code phone number, and instantly the transaction happens. So we have a number of customers here in Seattle, and really just kind of innovated around the ability to make a payment with a mobile device, any device, to anyone, anywhere.
And that's cool, because obviously feature phone and smartphone, they both have text. So
yeah, you can be a feature phone. You just send text a number to anyone and make the payment.
Great.
Yeah.
So I think the mobile payment space is crowded, right? Everybody can name off the top of their head 2 or 3 companies that are doing this, right? And not to knock what you're doing, right? You know this. You have a lot of competitors. I know about seconds, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people know about seconds, especially here in Seattle. How do you get your name out there? How do people know that seconds exists?
Yeah, it's a good question. One thing that we found, and we had a lot of success with getting really early, very early on, getting our name out and being discovered, across the country and the world. And what we found that worked the best was actually like writing about your vision, and whether it's personal blog or the company blog, actually putting your vision out there. I think a lot of founders are scared to let other companies or other people know about like what they're doing.
Afraid they'll give away the secret sauce.
Yeah, no, it's the worst thing to do in the world. The best thing to do is actually to talk about what you're doing, to talk about your vision, to describe what your solution is and what problems are actually, what are the problems it's solving. And I did that personally through my blog. I guest post on a number of different platforms, and you never know who clicks on a tweet. And we had a company in the UK, out of the UK. It was a daily deals site. This was about a year ago. That reached out to us and was interested in what we're doing, and that was because it was spread through social media through an article that I had written. So we found it was most beneficial for us to talk freely about our vision and what we're doing.
So were you only talking about the company? I mean, how did you decide, okay, well, this is what I'm going to sit down and write about today?
So I think the best strategy was to talk about the general market, and obviously mobile payments, everything is, things are going mobile, and how payments are transitioning and transforming into a mobile world. I talked generally about the transition of the industry, and then I would infuse seconds into the conversation. And obviously, speaking about how any device can use it. A lot of the other mobile payment systems are actually like iOS or Android specific. Right. And so, the uniqueness about what we do is that it works on any device. And so, by infusing that, the ability for us to interact on any platform, it just it became part of the story that I would write about, and that's how I make it happen.
Who did you find would engage with your message? Was it? I mean, you mentioned you had a company in the UK, right? I would imagine it would be kind of a broad range of people. So I mean, who do you feel like would most engage with your message, and how did you? I mean, did you want to find those people?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
That's an interesting question. We found that, there was large brands that actually started to follow us and engage with us, and that would probably be like, whether they were in sales or social media of that company. So on one side you have like some executives and some people that are like searching social media for new ideas, and then on the other side of the spectrum you had like it was just like tech savvy people that would reach out to me and actually say, hey, that's a great idea.
Sure.
People that want to work with us from around the country, like, hey, are you guys hiring? That sort of stuff. But I would say that, funny that you asked that, because unfortunately our customer segment that we were targeting were the ones that weren't reading this direct, media. So it wasn't it was probably more of a biz dev strategy than like finding our initial mom and pop or mid-sized companies that would actually purchase our product. But more or less, it was just a strategy of getting our name out. And the underlying factor of why we did this is, I think the biggest failure of any early stage startup is no one knows about you, right?
Right.
That's how you fail, is no one found out about your product or your service. So at least doing this, you're gonna get the attention of either investors or, you know, partnerships of larger companies, that sort of thing. I mean, it's just, the best you can do is people discover you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Did you have kind of a formulaic approach? Was it like, okay, I'm going to tweet this many times, I'm going to Facebook post this many times, I'm going to blog this many times, I'm going to blog in these certain areas? What kind of approach did you take?
You know, the biggest, I guess the most important thing for me and for the company was just a consistent cadence of probably once a week you're pushing something major out.
Sure.
You know, in terms of like blog posts, whether it's personal or, you know, company oriented, definitely once a week. And once you get that cadence going, then your message, and not only is your message getting pushed out every once a week, but then the trailing of that, all of a sudden the more articles you have out, like basically people are touching your stuff every day.
Sure.
So, and then in terms of social media, I think tweeting at least once a day is important. I wouldn't say be on there all the time because you're going to annoy people.
Sure.
You know, so once, twice a day, and you know, we didn't really do much with like Facebook or and anything like that, but definitely, you know, consistent writing and, you know, getting your message out, and then, you know, obviously some action on Twitter as well, and then just responding to, like, if there is like retweets or someone's responding on Twitter, then you're then doing that. But I think it's just a consistent once a week, at least pushing the message out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, some people who watch, you know, the videos on our site, they're entrepreneurs themselves, right? And so they want to know, okay, how do I get my brand out there? How do I get my product out there? How do I get my website out there so everybody can see it? If you were to kind of sum up what you did to get Seconds known, in maybe 2 or 3 points, you know, what would you tell them?
First and foremost, again, it's like figure out a channel to somehow get your voice out, and typically that's writing and it's blogging. And the funny thing that happens is you become the expert, right? And you write 2 articles and you're the expert on mobile payments, but the crazy thing is it works. And so I would say, one, you know, if you don't have a personal blog, establish a personal blog. Just, you know that once you start writing, people will start listening to you.
Sure.
Find relevant, you know, media resources. You know, whether that is GeekWire, whether that's more specific to your market. You know, I actually started writing for you know, X.com, which is within the PayPal network. Right. I did a number of articles for them last summer.
And they could be considered a competitor.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know, but what's crazy is they actually like approached me and said, "Hey, we would like you to fill content in focused on, you know, mobile and payments."
Sure.
And, you know, so I just started writing, and, you know, my name and associated with Seconds is right there. So so it's finding a channel to start pushing your content through as a second thing. And then lastly, you know, don't be bashful about you know, reaching out to whether it's other media outlets or, you know, once you have the content you can back yourself up with, start reaching out to, you know, potential partnerships, larger companies that you feel can take your information and earn, you know, derive value from that.
Sure.
Start shopping it. You know, I think that's a big thing. So, you know, start writing.
You never get unless you ask. Right?
Exactly.
And
yeah.
It's free to ask.
Yeah. So start writing, find the channels, and then don't be bashful about pushing it out. And, you know, something's gonna happen.
Sure.
And I go back to, like, the worst thing you could do is nothing. And if no one knows about your startup, you're not going to go anywhere. So that's what we did, and, you know, literally almost every continent asked and requested Seconds, even though we don't operate on any like
right.
Six out of 7 continents we don't operate on. So it's like
yet.
Yeah. Yet. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, great. I appreciate that, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers will appreciate that too. Thanks for having us here today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.